USC and Lincoln Riley, will they finally part ways? Split the sheets, divorce, whatever you want to call it. In a word, probably not. Lincoln's owed still $90 million by the University of Southern California. And even though he seems to not be getting it done, either in recruiting or in the transfer portal or on the field, they did go 6-6 again this year. It doesn't appear that there's any real urgency to get rid of this guy. Not by the administration at USC anyway. But for everything that he did coming in there that made you believe that Clay Helton was being replaced by, Almighty God himself as a head coach, I don't understand how anybody at USC or any USC fan can actually take up for this cat anymore. Especially, now Zachariah Branch and his brother Zion in the transfer portal. A week before that, Deuce Robinson, another 5-star wide receiver / tight end in the transfer portal. Along with many others just in the last couple of cycles are parting ways with the USC Trojans. And again, as I said, this is after a 6-6 season. Now, we'll get into all this, but first, before we do, welcome in to Hall of Fame College Football, Jason on College Football. I'm your host, Jason Watkins, and if you love college football, you know you're in the right place. So before you forget, smash that red subscriber button, like our videos, and don't forget to ring that bell so that you don't miss one moment of Hall of Fame College Football. What's crazy is that we've kind of asked this question before, but now it's starting to be asked, well, in circles that weren't asking the question before because they just believed that Lincoln truly was that guru of all offensive masterminds in the country and that he would right the ship sooner or later out for the Trojans. Now, people like Josh Pate, who have defended Lincoln Riley with every fiber of his being, are starting to ask the question themselves. Let's take a listen to what he said on his show the other day.
John said, is USC and Lincoln Riley collapsing before our eyes? Losing record, year 3, a bunch of really good players leaving in the portal. My answer, John, is yes. USC appears to be collapsing before our eyes.
Right before
I don't
your
like
eyes.
to speak in hyperbole. I don't like to jump to conclusions. Handily, I think it's why I've taken this long to speak this directly. So if you haven't been paying attention since they went 6-6 in the regular season, at least, if you haven't been paying attention, it's been a bad month for USC.
What?
They lost one of their top 2 quarterbacks. They lost one of their top 2 running backs. They lost 3 of their top 5 receivers, including 2 of them today. They lost a starting offensive tackle. They've lost 19 total players. Every 5-star Lincoln Riley has landed in the first 2 cycles is gone. They're in major trouble. They don't have good enough players. They just went 6-6 this year. They were in a lot of those games in the fourth quarter. And there's one train of thought that says, oh, that means you're not far away. But look, that only matters if you're moving in the right direction.
You've got a dirty, whorish mouth. That's what you have.
Yeah, that stuff will get you in trouble, Josh. It will get you in trouble. But hey, whatever. Look, folks, it's not good. And why is it going this way? It's pretty easy to tell you why. The guy was never set up for success other than when he got the job at Oklahoma. Bob Stoops left him a perfectly running sports car, high-powered, every coach in place, strength and conditioning, the whole 9 yards. The blue blood was running. They had already just won the conference championship, been in the playoff the year before that. He had plenty of runway with which to screw it up, which he did over time. Now, you couldn't tell because the Big 12 was a simmering wreck. Texas sucked. Oklahoma State was, half-ass. Baylor was the next best team. But nobody wanted to talk about that. It was just, these high-flying Oklahoma Sooners under Lincoln Riley. Well, yeah, great. Couple of Heisman quarterbacks. Awesome. They're getting their ass kicked once they got to the playoff. And you're starting to see, not starting to, you've been seeing the same thing in Southern California, because guess what? Clay Helton did not leave the same kind of ready-made turnkey operation that was left for Lincoln and Norman. He just didn't. Now it happened quicker. 7-5 in year 2. Could have been 6-6 after starting out 6-0 had it not been for a missed 2-point conversion by the Arizona Wildcats. But the biggest thing is, forget about the Alex Grinch stuff. We could talk ad nauseum about that. He finally got rid of him, hires a hell of a defensive staff led by Danton Lynn, who was the defensive coordinator last year under Chip Kelly at UCLA. They get better on defense. They're light, but they're better on defense. Okay, so now the offense is going away. Well, the biggest problem that you're having, as you guys have seen, is defections from really good players. And I'm starting to wonder how long USC fans, content creators, reporters, whatever, can continue making excuses for Lincoln and the way he's running things. Because the truth be told, there's nothing really to hang your hat on if you're Lincoln Riley about what you're doing right. And saying we're this close a lot of times doesn't mean that you really are this close, as you'll hear in this next clip from Josh Pate.
Second biggest media market in the country, and New York really doesn't have college football. No disrespect to Syracuse. USC is going to dominate. They're going to go scorched earth. And here we are all those years later, and that's the format, and USC sucks.
Yeah, Josh. All of you have. And everybody's tried to kill Brent Venables for having to take over the mess that he left in Norman in his wake. Runs off with Caleb Williams. Spencer Rattler defects out of there too because he's benched him for Caleb earlier in the season. A lot of guys leave, including on the defensive side of the ball. You had a couple of guys that stayed that ended up being big impact players once they learned how to do things under Brent Venables. But other than that, it wasn't a good situation that he got left in. Year 2, he wins 10 games. This year, it hadn't been any better for BV because, to be honest with you, too many injuries, a lot of weird stuff that happened with the offensive coordinator situation. Yeah, he went 6-6 too. But guess what? The recruiting still looks pretty good. Despite only getting 18 guys in the high school recruiting, which was by design, by the way, had a couple of guys receivers that Oklahoma decided to not go ahead and pursue and offer their scholarship. They ended up going elsewhere. And now they have picked up guys that are ready to make an impact immediately in the transfer portal. This is the big difference.
Maintain, to his credit, he looked around, he assessed his program. He said, this is not good enough. I don't have a good enough defensive staff. My program philosophy needs overhauling. The identity of this thing, top to bottom, needs overhauling. And he said it publicly. And I said at the time, that's good. That's refreshing. This won't be an overnight thing. But if he's serious about that, then this is the first step in the right direction. We got to have patience. Okay, so here I am a year later. How much more patience should I have? What are the telltale signs that starting to take root? Versus what are the telltale signs that it was lip service, but it's not going to work? That is tough.
The telltale signs. I got one for you. Let's take a look. Recruiting rankings. Take a look-see at the recruiting rankings. Yep. 15th is USC according to On3, and yes, Oklahoma right there behind them. Now, if you'll notice, there is a big difference in what they went to get. Oklahoma only getting 18 guys out of the high school. And here's the other part of it. Oklahoma had a plan to do that, as I will show you on this next one, the portal rankings. Now, here's a big difference. Oklahoma, as you'll see here, ranking number 12 in the country with 7 commitments, including the number 1 overall player in the portal so far, John Mateer, Washington State quarterback. Also, big commitments from a pair of, actually a trio of big time wide receivers. They are talking apparently to Zachariah Branch. They're in his top 5 or 6 programs. Possibility to have him and Zion come in, so that'll really piss off USC fans. But the worst thing about it for SC should be that, well, SC themselves, they only have 3 commitments in the portal so far, and they've jettisoned, what is it, 9 total, including guys like the Branch brothers, Deuce Robinson, quarterback Miller Moss, Bear Alexander, who split after the game 4 this year, and running back Quentin Joyner. Talking about 2 5-stars and 4 4-stars, just among notable defectors from the program. Overall, 19 players are gone. They've added 3 back. This is not a sustainable model, yet people will tell you inside of that content creator universe over there to see that everything's going to be just fine. Well, it really isn't. They're not recruiting well. And are you expecting for a bunch of high school kids to come in and make an immediate impact at SC? I think you definitely have to build your foundation with high school kids. I think we've talked about that, and they're not doing good enough for SC to do that. But you're also, as of right now, it's not good in the portal either. Not good in the portal either. We're going to have to wait and see kind of how all that goes. But, you know, let's look at the overall rankings right here. In the end, the only thing that really you can hope for if you're SC is that guys like Husan Longstreet, Jakeem Stewart, they're going to be ready to rock and roll and, you know, come out as true freshmen and be able to carry your football team. Does that ever work? Keyshawn Silver, Eli Sanders, guys from DJ Harvey, talking about guys from Kentucky, New Mexico, and San Jose State. Is this really helpful? I don't get it. I think the best thing that SC could probably hope for is that the Chicago Bears bail them out and hire Lincoln to go and coach Caleb Williams. I don't know. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. You almost got bailed out by UCF, but they instead got Alex Grinch, you know, to come be their defensive coordinator under Scott Frost. What a deal. Here's the biggest problem. Guys, he just doesn't know what he's doing. The truth be told, Lincoln Riley doesn't know how to fix this. He doesn't. Because when he took over at Oklahoma, you can talk about his record at OU. There's a reason behind it all. The program was ready-made, turnkey, and doing fine for him at OU. Bob Stoops left it as such. He didn't so much as have to hire a single coach. All the recruits were there. It was humming. Now, he did kind of dismantle it year by year and knew enough to get out of there before Oklahoma hauled ass to the SEC because he knew that he was going to be found out as a fraud. Well, guess what? He still has. He still has. And it happened quicker because Clay Helton did not leave the program in the same kind of shape. Now, what I would tell you Oklahoma fans watching this is this is the context that you need to use when you start thinking about where Oklahoma is right now. I'm talking to OU fans here. Imagine if Brent Venables had been left the machine that Lincoln was left in Norman, not the machine that was, you know, broken down on the side of the road that Lincoln left him. Imagine that. Would things be different? Probably so. But this is where you need to realize that maybe BV isn't so bad and it's just going to take some time because, you know, it just wasn't in that kind of shape when he got there. It's getting a lot better. They definitely have to do better in certain areas, I would say. But it appears with everything that you've seen Oklahoma do in the portal, Mateer, Giovanni Gibson, the list goes on. that they're addressing that. This is a good-looking football team coming into the season, and 6-6 could have easily been a lot worse than that in the SEC had it not been for that now elite defense that Oklahoma has. They don't have the same thing going on in Southern California, I can assure you. And newsflash, it doesn't look like it's getting better. When you lose Zachariah Branch and you've lost pretty much every 5-star that you brought in is gone now. Mekhi Lemon wasn't a 5-star, but every bit of good that was done by Lincoln in recruiting has been undone by Lincoln in recruiting. Again, it's not a sustainable model, and you're starting to wonder how long can SC survive with this guy at the helm? Should they just go ahead and cough up the cash, get him out of there now? They could get lucky and the Bears do what the Bears do and make a stupid hire. But aside from that, how much longer can you afford to watch this debacle unfold? You let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think about it all. Appreciate everybody coming in and checking out the video. See you on the next one.